So I just, was looking into things as usual, and finding some more information in regards to the Roman Catholic Church. And actually, this ministry that actually have some pretty good stuff. It had a video in regards to the Antichrist and getting persecution as well, it seems. And that was a pretty good video they had. But, so I was talking a little with them over Facebook. And yet again, I got into, asking them some things. And it seems like they're, willingly free and all of that, in regards to things. And, so that's kind of good. But then I asked them, because I have the ministry of, what was the guy called, a former, what's called, Bennett something, and in regards of Chick publication, and now this ministry as well, Tony's ministry or something. It just seems to go head in head, and others, in regards of promoting this doctrine of going directly to heaven. And, and a lot of these have a lot of, good stuff against, Romanism and all of that. And then still promoting, and of course, they usually also promote the King James Version as well, it seems, at least. I don't know in regards of Richard, but anyway, it seems to go hand in hand with the King James Version and the doctrine of going directly to heaven and, heaven and hell and all that. The problem is, if you look behind the words in the King James Version, you will find out in the so-called Old Testament that the word Sheol is translated to 3 different words. And I've gone through that beforehand, and so many times, it just seems like I'm hitting into this thing again and again and again and again. And also this time with this ministry. So, So, I asked, in regards of just a little knowledge in regards of it. And do this ministry believe that we're going directly to heaven when, after you die and all that? And that, it was confirmed that they believe that. And of course, in regards of Richard Bennett, I was, kicked out of his site, or, Facebook site. And I'm not entirely sure if it was, in regards to, because it seems like a lot of the people believe that you're going directly to heaven and all that. And I just tried to, show them a little, another side of things, I don't know if that was the cause or in regards to my questions, in regards of Alberto Rivera and all. Anyway, so again, it's just something you run into. So the thing is, if you can get the Protestants to believe in the heaven-hell doctrine, well, you get a lot closer to the Roman Catholics. Of course, the question is the heaven and hell doctrine actually true? And again, I don't like the use of the word hell, because there's so many misconception, some believe this, some believe that, and so forth, and they use the same word in regards of hell. The thing is, there's 2 entities, and these 2 entities are either mixed together, or one uses hell for one, or uses the hell for the other, and it just becomes a mess. And if you look, I think it's pretty much the King James Version that is at fault here. And of course, then people promoting, this doctrine. But it's sad. It's just, just go to the, get a Bible program and look the word hell up in the King James Version, and look what word is behind it, and then look into the Greek and so forward. Gehenna is not in regards of Sheol. Gehenna is in regards of the lake of fire. Jesus is talking about Gehenna that's outside the city, and yet in the King James Version it's translated as hell. And Sheol is, one of the times translated as hell in regards of 3 words. You have 3 different words, and one of the words are hell, So in regards of Sheol, sometimes it's translated as hell in the so-called Old Testament. Sometimes it's translated to pit, and sometimes it's translated to grave. So we have the exact same word translated into three different English words. And I don't think we have that problem in the Danish version. I think they actually have, I don't think they have that mistake in, if I remember correctly. There are some versions, if I remember correctly, that actually have the same issue. But I think they have corrected that. In any case, you can use the King James Version, just see what word has been behind the word being translated. So, and they also, put an emphasis on the King James Version. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad translation, but it has its issues for sure. You can't just say it's just the perfect version because, they took out the name of Jehovah nearly 7,000 times. Already there, if you will defend the King James Version in regards of the translators taking out the name of Jehovah nearly 7,000 times, I think your sanity has been lost at that point. If you can't see there's a problem here, that they, God put in his, word, his name, and that name was mistranslated nearly 7,000 times, and they knew what the name was because they do translate it where they are forced into translating it by the text. And they translated to Jehovah 7 times or something like that. I think it's like 7 times is in the King James Version. So it's not like they didn't know what the name was. They just mistranslated it. It's total dishonesty. I just don't. I don't find much honesty with when you take a text and mistranslate it on purpose. That doesn't really show me integrity. Anyway, let's see here. Genesis 22:14. You have Jehovah Yireh. That's one of the places where you have Jehovah. You have Exodus 6:3, Jehovah. You have 17:15, Jehovah Nissi. You have Judges 6:24, Jehovah Shalom. You have Psalms 83:18, again with Jehovah. You have Isaiah 12:2, Jehovah again. And then you have Isaiah 26:4, again using Jehovah. You can look that up in a King James Version. They knew the name, and yet they mistranslated the name nearly 7,000 times into a title. You don't think that's dishonest? I know if you're going to, if people are going to say, oh, it's just, it just came down from God, to Moses or what, in English. I think the sanity is lost in regards to these, King James Version, this King James onlyness, they have just, I think they lose totally the sanity when they go, oh, only King James, only, and we will correct the Hebrew text, yes, anyway. So, you see a lot of these people out there pushing for the King James, and I'm not saying it's a bad translation. I use it myself. But to say only King James, it's just, I think it goes into nut house, it seems like you're going into the nut world, the nutty world. We have so many manuscripts these days, to help us in regards of, we have the Hebrew, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls, we have the Hebrew Masoretic, the Hebrew Dead Sea Scrolls, we have the Samaritan Hebrew as well in regards of 6 of the books. Now, we know there are some corruptions in regards to the Samaritans and, here and there and all that. But, in regards of supporting each other, in regards to, if we can see that we have 5 witnesses saying the same exact thing, well, on different languages or whatever and so forward, well, that's pretty good evidence that, if we have one, for example, that says something else, and we have like 4 or 5 other witnesses that, you can value what is actually, okay, he might have made, if you can discern, the things and all that, and yeah. Anyway, when you take out the name of Jehovah, which is done in the Latin, which is done in the Greek, I just don't see it as just because they have this man-made tradition of doing it, the name is still in the Hebrew, and of course, the King James Version is said to be translated from the Hebrew Masoretic text. Well, again, and they also show what the name is with capital letters. Anyway, I just, so that was at least 2 things. I just had to ask, because again, many ministries, but they had, really have some good information in regards to the Roman Catholic Church and all that. I just wonder why these people are just still promoting this, doctrine of heaven and hell. You're going directly to heaven, after you die, you're going directly to hell. What is this doctrine, Where do you get that from? It's just, yeah, it just makes it, closer to the Roman Catholic idea, of, this heaven thing, and, they just have purgatory as well. But still, they believe that they're going into heaven, or purgatory, to, be, what is it called? I think I heard something about that the Roman Catholics was calling it the Holy Ghost Hospital or something like that. Oh, give me a break. It's not even in the Bible, this religion is just filthy. But of course, if you can get the Protestants, closer to that idea so they don't make too much conflict in regards of people going to heaven and all that, because that might be an issue for the deception of Satan in regards to Roman Catholicism, right? I don't know. It's just, people might just be deceived, and we have, we all have issues here and there, but yeah, it's just, so that's 2 of the issues. That was, yes, I just run into these things, and it's very sad because these ministries, seems, have a lot of truth in regards to the Roman Catholic whole, and in regards of the Antichrist and all that. So, yeah, I don't know. So it's just, oh well. So what was my idea of actually making this video? Actually, I mentioned, what was it? I fixed something in regards to the beginning of it. I wrote something. I just totally forgotten that. Oh well, it was in regards of going to heaven. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, it's not always easy in regards to the memory. And it's still the Day of Trumpet. So it's still, the Sabbath of the Day of Trumpet. If you keep it this month, some keep it next month. I think the Jews pretty much keep it next month, but as far as I can see, it's today. And then of course 10 days from now, there's the Day of Atonement, where, as I understand it, you fast, you inflict yourself for a day. So you have like 10 days, and I'm still learning and all that. It's just, well, I guess we are all learning, So, but the closer we can get to the truth, the easier, normalizing what is true. That's just, education against education, learning against learning, how wicked of the devil. But anyway, it's just interesting also to see that people out there are, people that have been studying the Bibles for, ages in some sense, and they come out with these weird doctrines, Just seems kind of weird that they would come up to this, if they have been like, 20 years and, it's just weird that they would, and if they have been, reading the Bibles and all that, how can they come up with these weird ideas, I don't know. I don't know. I just, yeah, it's just, you know. So, yeah. So just, you know, it just doesn't seem, you know, the SDA seems to be a lot closer to the truth. And I think in regards of this doctrine, you know, in regards of, you know, sleeping, well, after we die, awaiting the resurrection, and also historical, that seems to be the correct interpretation. So again, you have the Bible and you have history as well. You know, of course, you can find other faith, but in regards of going back to looking at the, you know, I think it's Justin Martyr. It is Justin Martyr, but you know, I'm not quoting him word for word, but he talks about, you know, if you you know, run into some that calls themselves Christian and they believe that they're going directly to heaven when they die, don't even believe that they're Christians. Now, it's not word for word, but it's something like that. You know, just, you know, go look it up if. And then, of course, we have the letter from Polygratus, for example. And I'm sure I can find much more. But, of course, the most important thing is, does it actually go with the Bible? And that's the thing. And I think it seems like the SDA is a lot closer to the truth in regards of, you know, sleeping. And might also in regards of the false witnesses that deny that Jesus is God, which is a very big problem. The SDA at least don't, you know, reject his divinity. So, but anyway, so yeah. But yeah, I don't understand why people would continue to promote this doctrine of heaven and hell, you know. And again, we have had 500 years to correct this, you know. 500 years to get it right. And yet, but of course, if there's all these liars and deceivers out there, that makes it harder for us to get through it. You know, it's taken me many years to just get to this point where I am, and now it's like, you know, there's still a lot of you know, you get, you know, it's just getting stuck everywhere. You know, trying to get out of all the deceptions and pull through, and then you get through, and then you have there's another way. You know, there's another. Yeah, it's just you have all the Jesuits. You know. Talking again, actually, I have. The thing is, the Jesuits are out there. So even if you get to the point of knowing who Jesus Christ is, and knowing who the Antichrist and the whole of Revelation is, you already have another problem because they have their own soldiers out there in regards of controlled opposition. So it doesn't. It seems it's like it never stops, you know? In regards to the deceptions and lies and all that, it just seems to just, you know, you try to do your best to find the truth, and yet there are people out there working for, you know, for trying to not, you know, to lead you astray here and there and so forward. It's, and some, you know, that looks for the truth might just make a mistake and so forward. They, you know, in regards of they, you know, and that's, you know, that's okay in regards of if they're still truthfully seeking the truth and make a mistake. Okay, that's, you know, we all can be deceived by Satan and we all have issues. But then going from, you know, one that actually tries to deceive you and tries to get you off track, you know, that's. But anyway, let's see here. I write here on my Facebook, one have to be aware that controlled opposition is out there as it is written in the Jesuit oath. And this is what is written in the Jesuit oath. My son, heretofore you have been taught to act the dissembler. And dissembler means one, to hide under false appearance. Two, to put on the appearance of, you know, simulate. Simulate that you are something that you are not. So you have been taught to do that. And Alberto Rivera talked about, you know, he was one that trained, you know, people. Anyway, So, okay. So, to act the dissembler among Roman Catholics, to be a Roman Catholic, and to be a spy, even among your own brethren. To believe no man, to trust no man, among the reformers, to be a reformer, among the Huguenots, to be a Huguenot, among the Calvinists, to be a Calvinist, among other Protestants, generally to be a Protestant. And it goes further. And obtaining the confidence. And obtaining the confidence to seek, even to preach from the pulpits. You think there's wolves in sheep clothing out there? They're just telling us, and this is like, going far back, and, these are the wolf in sheep clothing. Anyway, to seek even to preach from the pulpits and to denounce with all the vehemence, and that word means great forcefulness or intensity of feeling or expression in your nature, they say, our so-called, that's so-called, that's me that put in regards of our so-called holy religion. I think it would be unholy religion, These guys are deceivers. Plain wolves in sheep clothing. You think Jesus went around, I'm just going to deceive these guys. It's just so, And these people are hiding behind, sheep clothing. People look at them and think, these guys are Christians. Just incredible demonic, It's just, why would anyone do these things? Just incredible. Anyway. In your nature, our so-called holy religion and the so-called Pope. So, so in your nature, our holy, so-called religion and, our so-called holy religion and the so-called Pope, so that, and it goes forward, and even to descend so low as to become a Jew among Jews, that you might be enabled. That's actually funny in some sense, because people go, the Jesuits are Jews. All these, it's always the Jews, this and Jews that and all that. No, it's not the Jews. It's not the Jews. Does the Bible say it's the Jews? What does the Bible say? What? Is it a Jewish beast or is it a Roman beast? Have to read the book of Daniel and find out. The first beast, the second beast, the third beast, and the fourth beast. Well, the little horn grows up and plucking out 3 horns and so forward. What is the fourth beast? Is that a Jewish beast or a Roman beast? People just give me a break. Anyway, but of course the Jesuits always scapegoating the Jews. And of course, the Jews that works for the Roman Emperor. That doesn't mean that it's the Jews that is in control. It's the Antichrist and his shadow, the black general of the so-called Jesuits, the soldiers of Satan, There's actually some pretty good quotes in regards of if there is anyone in regards of being, I think is let's see here. Nope, but it's unfair. Some in regards of the famous warning quotes on the evil of the Jesuits. Anyway, let's go forward here. That you might be, so low as to become a Jew among the Jews, that you might be enabled to gather all, there's a quote in regards of that Jesuits, that's actually from I think it was from a CIA guy, and I actually have the video as well, from the documentary as well. Let's see here, but where is it? Oh yeah, American intelligence officer, CIA officer E. Howard Hunt states, "We have always said, in an admiring way, that the Jesuits form the greatest intelligence agency in the world, and always have." Always, according to this guy. And I have the video. I'm not going to run it, but I've linked the video as well, where it is, so people can go look at the video as well, as long as it's there on the But anyway, so they can hear the guy. So, and even to descend so low as to become a Jew among the Jews, that you might be enabled to gather together all information for the benefit of your order, and this is part of the Jesuit oath, as a faithful soldier of the, Pope. The so-called Pope, You think there's wolves in sheep clothing out there trying to deceive, if it was possible, the very elect? Yep, I think so. And they will continue to be out there, and they have been out there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. In disguise of, sheep, wolves in sheep clothing. Again, Jesus was not warning us about, plain stinking wolves like Muhammad. Muhammad is just a plain stinking wolf. Mohammedans deny that Jesus is the Son of God because they're following this false prophet of Muhammad. Okay. You can smell Muhammad miles away. He's a false prophet. It's very clear. It shouldn't be a problem for any Christian reading the Bibles, at least, when you grow in the scriptures and all that. So, if you ask the right questions and so forward, to figure out that Muhammad is not, a true prophet. He's a false, stinking wolf. A plain, stinking wolf without sheep clothing. There's no problem in regards of smelling him miles away. You should be able to spot him, very easily. There's a wolf. Oh, well, just go around that, I'll keep away from that, But wolves in sheep clothing was what our master warned us about. Now, what is a wolf in sheep clothing? Well, a wolf in sheep clothing would be something, someone that looks like the real thing. That mingles among the real lamb. Or the real sheep, So, wolves, sheep clothing, among the real sheep. So you have the real sheep and you have the wolves in sheep clothing, trying to disguise themselves as the sheep, thinking to, show outwardly that they are sheep when they are actually wolf, hungry, viciously, hungry. I can't remember the words here, but hungry wolves walking among the real, so should we expect there to be something like that? Yep. Jesus said that he would sow the good eatable seeds, and then an enemy, that very enemy, would come and sow the bad, poisonous, lawless seeds. As far as I can see from scripture, these seeds are lawless. These are poisonous seeds. They are uneatable. It is in regards of the darnel, and they look like the wheat. in regards of being wolves in sheep clothing. So, again, mingling in the earth with, with the wheat. Just get all the puzzle pieces together, and Jesus is pointing us, warning us about these deceptions, that could, if possible, even deceive the elect. Do you think Muhammad would be able to deceive the elect? Think about it. Let's say Muhammad went around in the first century, coming to the apostles and saying, hey, Jesus, he wasn't the Son of God. I don't think that will fly. I think it pretty much would be pretty easy to discount, But having someone come, in wool, in sheep clothing, that's another thing, That might be easier to work around in regards of deception, right? Doesn't work with Muhammad. And by the way, Muhammad came 600 years nearly after Jesus Christ. Why would you ever trust a guy that comes 600 years after the event anyway? He wasn't a witness. So the Mohammedans have this, outrageous thing of throwing everything from the first century out, and the history, the Bible, and everything, and just, we believe this Muhammad guy, this one person, we believe in him, that he had the truth, and he was the perfect example to follow after. And then just say, everything else is corrupted, in regards of Jesus being the Son of God and all that, You have to be kidding me. You guys are outrageous. 1.8 billion Mohammedans, totally not case. This is totally not house. You can't be seriously. You can't be seriously that, use your brain a little, 600 years after the event, Have to be kidding me. You have to be, how can you ever fall for this guy, Oh, you can't speak such things in regards of Muhammad, our beloved, false prophet and blah, blah, blah. This plain stinking wolf, had sex with a 9-year young girl when he was 54 years old. Apparently some kind of anyway, it just doesn't, it's just insane. It's a nut house. 1.8 billion 1.8 billion people, following along this false prophet. Most of the world out there is deceived by Satan, And it's like Christians don't expect that Satan. It's like a lot of Christians. It's like, if it's spiritual, it must be from God. It's like, no, we don't have any. People have just cast discernment over the shoulder, pretty much, and it's very sad to see. I came from Satan's candy shop and having contact with demons that led me further astray, And I know from that, these experiences that they are very deceptive. They are very, very deceptive. And then you come out and you see the Christians are just, some of these places just seems totally not case, Then they're babbling away and rolling around the floor and, animal noises and, uncontrollable shaking and, whatever, there's just, and you can see these videos on the internet. I was like, it's just, the tongues of confusion, It's just, and the doctrines just goes out the window and they start following these spiritual gifts, right? It must be from God because, it's spiritual. Yeah, well, Satan is also out there. How do you think Satan have deceived people throughout the ages? Yeah. Oh, well, he has many ways of deceiving people. In regards of the speaking in tongues doctrine, you can find it all over pagan, all over the pagan environment out there in regards of history and all that. It's nothing new. So-called tongues, These babbling things, babble, 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 You can find it, pretty much, I made a video on that for, as a, well, of course it's gone. But, I was looking into it and I had like 3 sources on it and, others have studied this. And I found a very good article and I actually took the 3, things that I think was, and made a video. But hey, YouTube deleted my channel. Google YouTube. Because I'm a hate speaker, apparently. I speak a lot of hatred, apparently. In these times, truth is hate speech, If you are talking any in regards to truth, biblical truth and all that, you are a hate speaker, you are, what's it called, Islamophobe, and, a homophobe, and, a Catholic basher, and whatever. I just all these names flying around, right? Yay! Just telling, yeah. Anyway, so I just don't understand it. And then when you look into Protestant history and you just see that the Protestants pretty much are not Protestants anymore. No one protests, and no one knows who they protested against. And we have huge amount of books from the past where the Protestants knew who they protested against. And then of course it's interesting when you see people, you wonder if they're actually deceived or if they're just promoting, because the Protestants really didn't believe that, those that read the Bible and all that, and then you hear these, these people that is in high positions and well known in the, in the Christian environment, and yet they promote, they come with these weird things that, it's just, oh well, the noise of cars and all, people, I don't understand people that just wants to have noise, I live just besides a road, and it's just terrible when, it's so loud that your ears nearly blow, Anyway. And people make things, in regards of loudness on purpose, Oh well, motorbikes and vehicles and all that, it's just, anyway. I guess there's a lot of other things that is, but why? Why make it so loud so it blows out, the eardrums of people, nearly at least, It's just, why, when it's, hurts, and it's like, it's just, Anyway. So, there's a lot of deceptions going on. And again, that's the thing. You're growing in regards to the truth and biblical truth and finding out what is going on and what the Protestants really actually, find out that there's a huge amount of Protestants in the past that was looking for the truth and researching and studying the Bible that knew a lot of things, and actually a lot of the things is still valid today, of course, because the truth doesn't really change. But in regards to the Roman Catholic Church, it's still valid 500 years because the Catholic Church pretty much has, it's still this it might look like but it's still the pagan whore that it's always been. And they might try to, the bridge builder, so-called bridge builder, might try to make bridges based on lies and deceptions over to the Protestants, which sadly is, the Protestants don't know who they're protesting anymore. So they're pretty much not, the word Protestants doesn't really seem to, and who can we thank for this? Well, it must be those that stands in the pulpit. And the question is, if those in the pulpit are not telling the sheep about the wolves in sheep clothing and this horrible system, well, the question is, do we have any Roman Catholics, maybe in the pulpits? Or are these people just deceived and don't know or whatever? I don't know. I think that might be a good chance that Satan has put his own onto those pulpits, and they don't even speak about it anymore. Here in Denmark, people don't know who the Antichrist is. Go around asking Lutherans, and they don't know. And when you just point them in they don't want to talk, they give them the cold shoulder. It's insane. You talk to the different shepherds out there, whatever. I don't know what to call it, but the different priests out there, Lutheran priest, telling me, it wasn't really that important in regards to the Reformation, knowing who the, Antichrist was and all that, it wasn't really that important. What? You had to be totally nutcase, It's not, it's just not really important. I had another Lutheran, it was like, and I was sitting there talking to him with an hour, and I just couldn't believe my ears. Actually, just seems to be the same thing with every single of these priests that I talk to. These Lutheran priests, or whatever, mostly it's Lutheran priests here in Denmark. I just can't believe my ears, what I'm hearing, Again, we have some noise from the road. You just can't believe your ears, So this Lutheran, there was this Lutheran thing, and us. Which started out talking about, this is corruption because this should be the name of God. This shouldn't be a title. It should be a name. In regards to this prayer they were handing out, anyway. So I talked with him for like an hour, I think, or something like that. And he was like, I was saying something. I was like, and he was like, oh yeah, the so-called, the so-called Pope, the Pope. He's like, oh yeah, the Pope is also, saying that. And it's like, I don't care what the Antichrist says. He was like, why would you care, who cares about what that guy says? He's the Antichrist, just, why would I put any authority in regards to what he says, I don't, and emphasis on this, man of the number 666. Yeah, true, he might say something that is true, but, the devil can, again, wolves in sheep clothing and all that. But, why would he just, go, oh yeah, the so-called, he was using the word, Why would any Christian ever use the word, so-called Pope for the, for a man? We're not to call anyone father, Jesus says, and yet people are calling him, this unholy faker, He can call himself the so-called Holy Father and all that. Well, I think unholy faker, it's much more fitting. His great smelliness, the Pope. Anyway. So, at least I think that's closer to the truth. This office of the papacy, this great toilet that has been given over, in regards to the authority and dominion and all that and power from Satan to this, this block toilet, sculpting, what is it called, fixing, anyway. And the Lutheran Church still believe in the cookie becoming Jesus. It's just very, even if Martin Luther actually protested and was very much against the mass of the papacy, he still had, he was still upholding this, even if he had a lot of, it seems like there was a lot of people around him that did understand that this was only symbolic, like Melanchthon, for example, Andreas Karlstadt, Zwingli, and I've heard even Calvin. I haven't researched much in regards of Calvin, but anyway, so that's four. I haven't confirmed in regards of Calvin, but I've heard others talk about Calvin. A professor said Calvin, and I heard another. So I have two sources talking about, at least two sources saying that Calvin did not believe in the, that the cookie became the literal body of Christ. And of course, then in regards, I think it was, they used a lot of energy in this, and Luther had a lot of trouble on it. and then he made his own doctrine of consubstantiation instead of transubstantiation, and yeah, he had a lot of difficulty with it. Apparently he couldn't release, and I don't know if he later on actually rejected it. I don't know, but Melanchthon apparently did. Apparently Melanchthon at some point, and he was a very close friend of Martin Luther. So I have to wonder if Melanchthon actually realized that. I wonder if Luther might also have been, and again, I don't know. I haven't really seen some real evidence that he, But anyway, he might not have rejected it. But anyway, we have had 500 years to correct the things. 500 years, and the Danish state church, which might actually also be a problem, that is actually the state church, because then the state can overrule the Bible and corrupt things, and force them to, well, at least go in that direction in regards of, that they are allowed to marry homosexuals. I'll tell you, if any priest in any church thinks it's okay to marry 2 men or 2 women, out the church. You kick them out of the church. They shouldn't be there. If they can't stand on the Bible on this is an abomination. It should not be done. And, by a priest that, should know his Bible, doing this abomination, taking part of it, out the church, either repent or out the church. They should be very clear. Anyway, just, and of course, the state, well, if any homosexuals want to commit, abomination and all that, don't bring the church into this. If you want to, willingly commit abomination, go another place. Go another place where they accept, you do these abominations, It's like, that's insane. Anyway, and we also have Freemasons in the churches. Have we totally lost our minds? Have we totally lost discernment? Why are no one speaking up? It's just incredible. No one speaks up. We have no one in Denmark, pretty much. No one. No one. It's just love songs for the Antichrist, or not talking about what the Protestants really believed, and stood for. It's like this. It's just become this culture thing, and it's really going downhill for us. Really going downhill for this nation. It's actually have been going downhill for a long time, and yet we have had 500 years to read the Bible, and we're still keeping pagan traditions, and we're actually just absorbing more of these pagan traditions. Hey. Oh, the Mohammedans, let's import some Mohammedans and let's, let's do their traditions as well. But what about the biblical traditions? Well, actually not tradition. What about the biblical Feast of Jehovah, which is actually written in the Bible? Judaizer! Legalist! Extremist! You will lose salvation if you try to keep the festivals of Jehovah. Yeah, but if you keep the festivals of the Antichrist and all these demonic vanities, different, festivals that has nothing to do with the Bible, yeah, that's okay. There you won't lose salvation then. But if you try to keep the festivals found in the Bible, you have just lost salvation, they say. It's like, you have to be... It's a nutcase. It's an utter nutcase. Don't you see how nutcase it is? So if I keep the laws of the Antichrist, I'll be safe. But if I try to keep the law of God, I'll lose salvation. Do you see how people have totally lost their mind? They're just flown out. The brain have just flown out, or the sanity have flown out. The brain, it's just. What are you talking about? It's just 500 years. 500 years to read the Bible without being killed. And this is where we are. This is where we are. 500 years after the Reformation, which failed and became a protest. Because they protested the whole of Revelation and the Antichrist of the number 666. And yet, we have been able to read the Bible in our own language, in our own tongue. And we haven't come further than this. We should be ashamed. We should be so ashamed. And I think we should be even more ashamed of taking it in the wrong direction as we are in these days. Pride in the city, right? Priding about all the abominations that we, like to do. It's just insane. It's utterly insane. That people are not, and then having as the perfect, the perfect role model to follow after a man that had sex with a 9-year young girl when he was 54 years old. You have to be kidding me. But no, you're not kidding me. That's exactly what you Mohammedans are following after. It's disgusting. It's filthy. It's an utter abomination. Perfect example to follow. Well, so what about Jesus? We believe in Jesus. He was just, he's a prophet. Prophet? He's not just a prophet. He was God. He is God. Had to be kidding me. And you have this Muhammad that is totally lying, a deceptive guy. Totally false prophet, and you want to defend him and kill for him? Killing for the devil. Rejecting the true light of the world and thinking that you kill in the service of God. Well, you're following the devil, and same thing in regards to the Romanist out there. Believing in a cookie. The great cookie god of the Catholics. But they will be offended. No, you shouldn't you shouldn't speak like that, It's hate speech to talk against the cookie god. And that, have we told, people have totally lost their mind, if all the world will go, if you want to go astray and all that, just don't include me, I'll not go along, with this demonic, idiocy, these deceptions, and there's a lot of obstacles and deceptions and lies, but, that is, you won't have to, but don't. Even if 82% of the people believe in evolution here in this country, we are apparently the second nation in the world that believes in evolution. This pagan, satanic lie and deception of evolution, like 13.8 billion years ago, nothing exploded, and, here we are. Yeah, and we grow up with it. I was an evolutionist beforehand. It usually goes hand in hand with atheism. I've heard that communism is also built on evolution. I haven't verified that, but I heard some talk about that. Wouldn't be a surprise. In the Bible there is a form of communism, but that's in regards of basing it on creationism, not evolution. That would, be a change in how you view the world and how you view others created in the image of Jehovah. Anyway, you see the first Christians were sharing everything and all that, we see that in Jerusalem, the Nazarenes they were called, the sect of the Nazarenes. Anyway, So it's just insane. This is just insane, utterly insane. I don't know what I really, it's just why is it that why is it that why is it so few people care about the truth? Why is it that they are okay with the lies and deceptions and just make fun of the truth and mock it and all that and just run with the lies? Oh, by the way, in regards of evolution, if you come to Denmark and say that you do not believe in evolution, most of the Danes will tell you that you're nutcase. They will just, this guy's crazy, You don't believe in evolution? And I was one of them. Because we grow up with evolution. We don't hear about anything else, pretty much. I think it took 30 years before I actually heard about it. In regards to creationism. You get evolution, from childhood. You get it from your family, you get it from the television, you get it from the school system, you get it from society. You just think it's the truth. Because everybody, this is the thing that you're told all the time. This is propaganda. This is filthy propaganda by Satan. So, yeah. Anyway, and people, apparently 65% of the Danish people, apparently, which, it's nice that they would say that this is a Christian nation, but, when 82% of the people believe in evolution, you have to question it, because how can 65% believe that this is a Christian nation, and yet 82% of the Danish people, the second nation in the world, in regards of believing in evolution, I think Iceland or something like that. No, I said one of these in regards of islands that rank over Denmark. Anyway, I can't remember which it was. I think it was Iceland, but I might be wrong in regards to that. Anyway, Denmark was the number 2. In any case, if we are a Christian nation, why are people believing in evolution? And how can, if 65% think, we still, a Christian nation, hey, maybe we should do something about it, you guys, maybe we should, begin to pull some rope from Satan again, get the coal, on fire again, what left is in regards to the coals, just blow to the coals and let's get some fire going, and some rope pulling from Satan. Yeah, let's get people out of Satan's candy store. There's a lot of flavors, and it seems like people are just, it's just, that's so sad. It's so sad to see that we had so much, and we have lost so much. We just lost a huge amount of what we had. The truth that we had, what we gained of truth, we have now, pretty much just, we didn't find value in the truth. And instead of moving forward, we just stopped, and now we're moving backward, It's very sad. It's very, very sad to observe. Feeling that something is totally wrong in this world, and yet it's just taken me years to get this to this point that, it's beginning to figure out what is actually wrong. Because the Bible is true. The Bible has prophesied about these things. And it's showing us in which direction, in regards of Rome and the Antichrist. And the Protestants knew this. The Protestants knew this. And yet, those proclaiming they are Protestants, it's just more like a word for them. They don't even know what the word means. I didn't know what the word means. And when I began to find out, and then I talked with some, like it's like it seems to be the same thing again and again and again, where Satan tries to, make you doubt about this, But anyway, I talked to someone and he was like, trying to sow doubt in me. It's like the same thing in regards to the 7th day and the first day and all that. The Sabbath is not on the venerated day of the sun god Sol Invictus, okay? The last day is, in regards to the Roman pagan calendar, Saturday. It's not Sunday. And if you want to be totally correct in regards of, the Roman calendar, it's from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And by the way, we're actually in the 2nd day now of the week. So the sun has gone down and the Day of Trumpets is finished, and then in, I guess, 9 days or something like that, we have the Day of Atonement as well. So, and then we have the Festival of Sukkot, and then 7 days, and then the last great day is the 8th. You have to just read the Bible and find out who is lying to you. If I'm telling you something that is wrong, you can go and in the Bible and look it up. Am I telling the truth, or am I lying to you? Am I deceiving you, or am I telling the truth? That's the thing, you have to take this book and read it and be careful of Paul. Read it. That's the only way, to know is this guy telling the truth, or is he lying? In regards to the festivals of God, is this actually, you could actually just look for Christmas in the Bible, or Easter, or, of course, that actually is a mistranslated word in the King James Version in regards of Easter. But anyway, in the book of Acts, if I remember correctly. But anyway, a translation is a translation, and be careful of, going with the perfect, like that only the King James Version and blah, blah, blah. It's just, you will end up getting into some problems if you do that. That's just, at least, yeah. But that was actually, by the way, a King James Version I had there. So I have an Aramaic version New Testament here as well, and I have the Danish New Testament as well. And that was the one that pretty much got me out of the, it has seen its better days and all that. It has been glued and taped and so forward, but that was pretty much the one that, I was so close to actually throwing it out. Yet, yeah. I did skip the letters of Paul from the beginning. Too much scratching in the plate in some sense. But yeah. Anyway, just be careful of Paul, because Paul leads a lot of people into lawlessness. Anyway, but yeah. Read the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's the books about the gospel. The good news about Jesus Christ dying for the sins of the world. And there is no way to the Father but by Him. No one. And when people are like, oh yeah, you have your way and I have my way and you have this way and you have what way and this whatever. That is the broad way that leads to destruction and utter annihilation, okay? There is only one. If you believe Jesus Christ, there's only one way. Only one way. Only one single way. That's through the Lamb. The Passover Lamb, the living bread that was broken for the sins of the world. Only one way. Okay? It's not the broad way, that leads to, you have one way. The broad way is Satan's way that leads to destruction, where the second death. That's the road of Satan, the broad road that leads to destruction and utter annihilation. Satan's candy store with many flavors, okay? Get out of Satan's candy shop, Get out of it and stick, find out who Jesus Christ really is. Because there's a lot of false versions of Jesus Christ out there. Now, the two most important ones to know that will, is in regards of the cookie Jesus of the Roman Catholics, the Roman Papists, the Romanists, and, the only prophet version. That are the two, I think, the two most important, made up versions of Jesus Christ. And then there's a lot of other versions that is made up and all that, but that's the two most, because you have 1.2 billion Roman Catholics and you had 1.8 billion Mohammedans. So, as far as I can see, those two are the most popular false versions of Jesus Christ. And in regards of the Roman Catholics, that would be the most deceptive version of them. So, yeah, just be careful out there. Satan will try to put obstacles in front of you and try to get you on the wrong track on this and that subject. And you might fall into his deceptions. When you do research and all that, you might be led on a wrong trail. And you might be deceived for some time, but figure out, this is no good. And then you get back, yeah. So, just get, I can just, tell you which direction to go, but you are the one that, that needs to pick up this book and read it for yourself. Because, I can't do that for you. I can't read this book for you. I can try the best to my to my ability to tell you the truth and help you in the right direction, but I can't read it for you. And again, be careful of Paul, but read the first 4 books of the New Testament and you already know much more than most of the people in this world in regards of who Jesus Christ is, really is. Why believe in all these other versions that came after Jesus, the real version? Why believe all these other versions that are made up later on, Why believe in the version of Muhammad when he comes nearly 600 years after the event? He never walked with Jesus, he never heard Jesus, he never, spoke with Jesus, he never ate with Jesus, he never, it's just, he wasn't there. He wasn't there, and yet people will follow a guy 600 years after the event and believe in him, that he knew about the truth and all that, instead of the apostles that walked with Jesus, slept with Jesus, heard his teaching, and, it's just, you guys, come on. Don't stop following, the old snake that deceives the whole world. Anyway, I'm getting somewhat hungry and yeah, I think I'll go down and get some food. A steak, I think, would be nice. Yep. So, I also have, I have so many articles and so forward, and there's so much to read up on. And we really need, more people looking into the truth. We have so much things, we have the Bible. The thing is, the more people that do research and the more people that seeks the truth and truly seek the truth, and, that can stand as light in this dark world, most of the world is deceived by Satan. We're talking about billions. We're not talking a small amount of humanity or, whatever you want to call it, We are talking about most of the world that are deceived in our days. we have like 1.2 billion Roman Catholics. You have 1.8 billion Mohammedans. You have the Buddhists. You have the Hindus. And you have the all. You know, I have the numbers over here, by the way. And it's just, you know, or you can find them on the internet and all that. But pretty much most of the world, you have the atheists as well, of course. You know, you have these New Agers, whatever. You know, it doesn't, you know, if you add up the numbers, it's a huge amount of numbers of people that is deceived out there. And we really need more people standing for the truth. And again, the more, you know, the more mosquitoes we can slam, the better. You know, in regards to, you know, if we know the 7th day is Saturday, or actually from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, change it. If we can pull rope from Satan and squeeze all these annoying, you know, mosquitoes, you know, you know, we can easier, if children are growing up with the festivals of God found in the Torah, in regards of the biblical calendar system as well, instead of a Roman sun calendar system, in regards of the, you know, what is called the Caesar calendar of Julius, and the, you know, in regards of the Popish Gregorian sun calendar and all that, and we have all these pagan traditions. If we squeeze them out and remove them and put in the true festivals of God, and our children are growing up with them, it will make it so much easier for them to understand the Bible. And, you know, instead of trying to figure out what is actually going on here and there and all that, you know. And in regards to the Sunday and Saturday and so forth. Anyway, I should probably be going there 19 minutes before they actually close the shop, if I'm going to go over there. And it would be nice with a steak. Yeah. And, yeah. I'm kind of hungry, you know. Yeah. I actually was making some rice, by the way. Oh, well. Oh, my. Anyway, yeah. So, there's no one that, you know, the thing is, the Bible, a lot of people have the Bible today. You know, at least in Denmark, and I would think a lot of people in the Western world have a Bible standing, you know, just standing there, collecting dust. It's not meant to just stand there and look good. The Bible is meant to be read, you know, and studied and grow in it, and begin to walk away from the lies. You know, we're not perfect like Jesus was, but as disciples, we are to move in the direction of our Master. It's not, you know, we don't learn everything from one day to another, you know. We are disciples. And what is the goal of a disciple? To become more like his Master. And our Master was a Jew, okay? That's just the fact of it. Our Master was a Jew, you know. He was born of a Jewish woman, you know, a daughter of David, you know. So that's just, you know. Anyway, yeah, there's nothing wrong with, you know, it's like, oh, you are a Judaizer. Well, so was Jesus, so what, you know? But not in regards of Judaism, because the Jews look at Jesus as the destroyer of Judaism. They have this acronym for Jesus. Instead of calling him Yeshua, they call him Yeshu, and then it's an acronym for may his name be obliterated and blotted out, because the Jews know that Jesus actually was executed. But they just, you know, they just don't really, they think it was a good thing, you know, that he deserved it. You know, so the Jews, as far as my experience goes, they don't reject that Jesus, you know, they know they executed him. But they think it was a righteous thing to do because he made himself equal to God, you know, in regards of blasphemy. So Jesus was executed for blasphemy. Now, again, I don't hate Jews at all, you know. I actually love Jews. I like Jews. But anyway, in regards of Judaizer, you know, in that sense, Jesus was not in regards of Judaism, but yeah, in regards of doing so-called Jewish stuff, written in the, in the Bible, yeah, I'm a Judaizer. And I don't think there would be anything wrong with being a Judaizer. I think it's a pretty good word. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Yeah, I would like to get closer to the Bible instead of all these pagan traditions. Okay. Anyway, have a good one, all of you. I'll go down there, and may Jehovah bless you. May He be with you, and may Yeshua be that most precious pearl. And when you find out by, for example, reading Matthew, Mark, Lucas, and John, when you read those 4 books and get more understanding and grow and find out who Jesus really is, so you really can't be deceived by Satan with all his false versions of Jesus out there. When you have that pearl, that most precious pearl that is worth more than the world's gold and silver, when you have that pearl, don't let him go, because Satan will try to take him from you. And may the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Amen. Have a good day, all of you. Bye-bye. Oh, well, 1 hour and 15 minutes.